Hello everyone, it's Krish again, and we are going through some difficult time. This is the period we have a corona outbreak. So everyone you out there, I wish good health and stay safe during this time period. We can go through this, but so stay safe, be responsible. So if we consider the microservices tutorial we had, we came to a level where now we can develop and deploy good system, right? So we know how to communicate with multiple servers, service discovery, security and everything. But there is a few missing pieces here. One is how to deploy this, and other one is how to automate these things. So before we move into some edge cases of microservices, I'm going to touch other areas before that. For example, how we can do automate this, automate building, continuous integration and continuous delivery, and other pieces what we need in this formula. So as a result, from today I'm going to start a new few videos about Ansible. When we need to get things automated, Ansible plays a really good role on that. So I'm going to cover basic and essential things what you need to know about Ansible. So this may take 4 or 5 videos, and I'm going to upload those like frequently. So you will have it very soon, all the videos. But I ask you to follow in order, right? Don't start from the second video, don't start from the third video, start from this video and keep going. Okay, first thing first, what is the problem we have? If you take this microservice entire platform and forget about the microservices, if you think this real production situation, so you don't find 1 or 2 servers. You may have to deal with hundreds of thousands of servers, right? And you may need to deploy the builds and make the configuration up to date and configure all servers should be in same configuration, so and so forth, right? So consider a scenario like this. You may have a multiple servers, multiple database servers, multiple web servers, multiple gateways, load balancers and log servers. There are tons of things to do in the real production system, right? So you may find more than one servers to run. For example, you may deal with 100 servers. So you need to make sure multiple things. For example, log directories. You need to make sure all the servers has the log directories, all the servers has the same permission, all the servers has the same user sets and so forth, right? So when you're going to do this manually, it's really cumbersome task. Why? Because you may miss something. So that's why that's our problem, right? We need to find a way to do this easily and efficiently. So that's where Ansible comes. What is the Ansible? Ansible is a YAML based automation platform. It consists with the playbook as well as the engine to run the playbooks, right? If you need more, you have Ansible Tower, which is not necessarily to have, but Ansible Tower is some nice thing. It has some APIs and the UIs. So then why we need Ansible, right? What is the specialty of the Ansible? Ansible is a human readable platform, and I mean configuration, all those things are human readable, and therefore it fit to any user level. So this does not stick to any platform, right? So you can run on a Windows, you can run on a Linux, you can run on a Mac, you can run on anywhere, right? Why? Because especially this is agentless. You don't need an agent, because this is the very cumbersome, very tedious task when you set up a automation framework, automation platforms, because you need to run agents on each server, right? So then you need additional work. You need to make sure the agents are up and running. You need to make sure agents are patched properly, same version, so many things. But Ansible work without any agent. It's agentless. It's very powerful enough to handle hundreds of thousands of nodes at once. It's more secure because it's run on a SSH, and not only SSH. If you run on a Windows, you can find other connection method, but basically it run on a SSH, and it's work cross platform. As I said, you don't have to restrict to any particular platform. So other nice thing with Ansible is a ready to go framework, right? So it comes with the 400 plus ready-made modules. Those are ready to run, right? So you have a very large community support, and it heavily used in industry. It basically has more than 200,000 downloads per month. So that means it's a very heavily used platform. So why really special with Ansible? Why we need Ansible? Because if you take this complete life cycle, so those days we learned something called software development life cycle. So now with this microservice and all those, these things a little bit changed, right? So if you check the real life cycle, you need to make sure you have a configuration management in place. What does it mean? It means you have same configuration and centralized manageability to all the servers and nodes, right? So that makes sure every entire infrastructure in a same page. So then you have to have a deployment features, right? You should be able to deploy application, and then with that you need to make sure you have a right orchestration frameworks in place, and also probably you may need to provision servers, right? Because you may run on a cloud, you may run on a 10 servers, now you may need the other 10 servers, right? So you need to have a provisioning features. So there are enough frameworks out there to do these things, but those frameworks are dedicated for special thing, right? But with Ansible, you can do more or less all those things with the same platform. So that's a one nice thing with Ansible. So if we talk about the Ansible architecture a little bit, it has a modules. So modules is nothing but it's a small program, right? For example, let's say you want to you have a 10 servers, you need to make sure all these 10 servers are communicatable, I mean connected, right? So you have to have a ping, right? So you have a ping module. What the ping module does, it take your request and it distribute to all the servers. So you don't have to write those code, pinging code, right? And otherwise user module, right? You want to create a users on all these 10 servers, user called John Doe, right? You want to create a John Doe user on all those 10 servers, right? So you don't have to go to one by one, you don't have to write that code even, you can just say -m user module, this is the name, right? So in other words, module is nothing but it's just a pre-written program to do a specific task. If you want to upload a file, create a file and ping and just think whatever arbitrary work you want to do, you can write your own modules if you want, or else you can use the standard modules. And Ansible by default ship with the 400 plus standard modules to do things. So then you have something called plugins. So plugins, you know what the plugin means, like for example you install plugins to your browser, right? So plugin is nothing but something extra which doesn't come with the built-in ship package, right? So it's the same meaning here. So Ansible comes with a number of own plugins, and if you want you can write your own plugins as well. And there is another concept called inventory, right? So people say inventory, whatever. So inventory is nothing but you tells to Ansible what are the nodes you are dealing with, right? For example, let's say in your network you have 5 database servers, right? 5 web servers, 10 file storage FTP servers, something like that, right? So you tell in a file, I'll show you in a while, you tell in a file what are those servers, what are the IP address of your database servers, 5 database servers, what are the IP address of web servers, what are the IP addresses of your FTP servers, right? What are the IP addresses of your firewalls or gateways or the load balancer, right? So then you can issue a command, right, a specific set of codes. For example, you don't need HTTP server running on a database server, right? So you can tell Ansible, hey, go and install HTTP server on this web server IPs. You may have 100 IPs on inventory, but you can issue a command only for the 10 web servers. You can tell install MySQL on this database servers. You can tell install some other library on this particular set of servers, right? So inventory is nothing but just a file with all the information with all the nodes you are going to manage, right? Also Ansible support in inventory providers such as AWS. You can take the AWS resources into inventory. Then this is why Ansible unique. Ansible has some concept called Playbook. So Ansible playbooks are like instruction manual for the task, right? So you need to do some task, right? For example, you want to create users, so that's a task, right? So a playbook is kind of an instruction manual to that, how to do it, what are the parameters, all those things you can plug into these playbooks. So they're very simplified, written in the YAML. So YAML is a human readable language, human readable format of more or less is easy than the JSON. So playbooks are kind of a heart of the Ansible, which make it popular, right? It's because playbook is nicely developed concept, design and developed concept. So we are going to take in detail about these topics, right? Don't worry about those. So playbook comes up with the multiple players. So we can discuss what are those. So Ansible Tower is nothing but it's a kind of a enhanced version of Ansible where you can have a nice UIs and kind of a dashboard to manage. It's not exactly dashboard, but it's kind of a thing where you can get all those your configuration nodes and the Ansible managers and to one platform, one view, and get managed nicely. So I'm going to show you practically how we going to do that, and this video I'm going to show you how you can install Ansible, and the next video I'm going to show you how Ansible Manager connect with the Ansible nodes, right? So this is kind of a basic structure in any Ansible design, right? This is not the exact one, I just created this to mimic it, right? For example, let's say you have 50 database servers and 50 web servers, right? I just shown 3 here. So those servers will, those are the servers you are going to manage. So you need a one dedicated server to run the Ansible. So that's the only server you need to install Ansible or all those packages, right? All other servers are intact. So this Ansible manager, so whatever the install with the Ansible is going to talk to other nodes and install those scripts and whatever you want to do on those nodes, right? So this connectivity, in the next video I'm going to show you how we can make this connectivity with the agentless manner, right? So if you want to install Ansible, there are multiple ways you can do to install Ansible. It depends on how you want it. For example, if you run with you can install the pip, using the pip you can install Ansible. That's very easy, just pip install Ansible. And if you run on Red Hat Linux and you need to Amazon Linux, you can install through the extras. And if you use it, if you have a Red Hat Linux or Red Hat CentOS based Linux, and you can use enable the EPEL and then install Ansible or Ubuntu in the same way. So you can go to Ansible documentation and see in your distribution how you can install Ansible, right? So I'm going to use Amazon Linux. So I'm going to but I'm going to show this in Red Hat manner, not that exactly Amazon manner, because then it's common for any CentOS based distribution or Fedora based distribution you're using, right? So okay, so you can see here I'm going to demonstrate this with using AWS, but it's like because I don't have a bunch of servers here to show this to you, but you can use this with your on-prem data center or wherever you want to use, right? This is nothing to do with the AWS. I'm just using AWS to create those instances to make this example work, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this one, right? I am going to connect to this one first, and I'm going to show you how to install Ansible. And I'm going to make sure this is up to date. Okay, so this is up to date. So I'm going to enable EPEL. Okay, so now I'm done with that. So now I'm going to install Ansible. Okay, so now I install Ansible. So now I should be able to run Ansible, right? So Ansible command is there. So if you go to etc Ansible, so this is the where it installs Ansible, right? So it saved the basic packages, and it has a one configuration file ansible.cfg. We are going to talk in detail later, and it has a file called host. So this is the inventory file I mentioned to you. So it has some examples to you, right? It not necessarily to use. You can have your own files and anything. And basically this directory has nothing you must have, right? So this ansible.cfg also fully commented, right? So if you want, you can enable this, and you can create your own configuration file. For example, if you install the Ansible with the pip, you don't get any of these files, right? So in simple, in other words, I don't have to even come to this directory, right? I can have my own directory. I'll show you how to do that. I'll do my example in that way. So otherwise you would think we have to come to this directory. It's not like that. So I'll show you how we can do this without this directory, right? So this is enough for this video, and next video I'm going to upload very soon, probably tomorrow or day after tomorrow, and how we can have multiple hosts and talk this Ansible main server or Ansible manager to those server, right? So make sure you subscribe to this channel, and also make sure you share this video, comment, like, and give your feedback. And also make sure you share this video, because then other people also can get benefit of this tutorials, right? So until we meet again, stay safe, take care.